Hello everybody, Luke here, and today we are talking about Fast 10. This is the 10th installment in the Fast and the Furious series, and this is going to be the first part of a 3-part trilogy according to Vin Diesel. Listen, I'm just going to get right into it and say this. If you are not a fan of the Fast and Furious movies, I don't think you're going to like it. I don't think you probably have liked the last 6 of them, honestly. But if you like the Fast and Furious series and you know what you're going to get yourself into, it's okay. So if that sounds interesting, let's get right into the review. So the movie opens up with a flashback from what happened in the 5th movie. Now if you don't remember, they're trying to steal a vault from this drug lord. In the process, they do end up killing the drug lord. They do take his money, but it turns out that he did have a son. Obviously he's pretty mad, so finally years later, he decides to get his revenge on Dom Toretto and his family. His master plan is to destroy Dom and anything he cares about. So that means setting up the family, which is his crew, to do a fake heist to pretty much tarnish their name and separate them from the main group. Trying to steal his kid, trying to steal his sister, kidnap them I should say. He tries to kidnap his wife, a bunch of things happen. And how does this end? Well, it ends in a cliffhanger because we don't really know what's going to happen because this is the first of a trilogy. So that's the main plot, is that Dom is trying to reunite with his family and trying to stop down this evil son, played by Jason Momoa. So like I said earlier, if you're not a fan of the series, you probably won't like this one. You know, it kind of has the same bad pacing of any of them. Nobody knows how to settle their fights with words. All they know how to do is just fist fight. And I swear in this movie it's like back to back to back. It gets excessive, like everything in these movies. Also the humor is like there, but it's kind of awkward. Like there's this one scene when one of the characters like tries a drug muffin and he kind of trips out for a little bit. I'm just like, the scene starts and ends in like 20 seconds. He just like, while people are fighting too, it's like, it gets to the point that's kind of mind-numbing for the, I guess, regular folk, but maybe if you really do enjoy the series, you'll laugh at it and kind of know they're playing it up. And you know, I would say for this movie and all the Furious movies, that's kind of the point, is that they're supposed to be playing it up. It's pretty hard to take this basic plot from the first one and make 10 movies out of it, so obviously they have to do more, get more crazy. And hey, you know, you may be happy to know that they do not go into space in this one, so there's nothing quite that ridiculous. But obviously, they do a bunch of other crazy things, like, you know, hooking up 2 helicopters and making them smash into each other with their car. I guess that's all it takes, is just being behind that wheel to be invincible. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I know what this movie is. I know what they're trying to do. They're supposed to be campy, they're supposed to be ridiculous, and obviously, people who eat that up, they do like it. But I should say that as a movie itself, it's not great. That the pacing's always awkward. I almost feel like the writers are like, what do we do? Let's have a fist fight. I don't know. it just gets to the point that it's so much. The acting is whatever. Jason Momoa does a horrible job, which I will talk about later, but I'm not going to get into it right now. You know, the scenes are cool. I can appreciate this about this movie, is that clearly it is a summer blockbuster, and it is a long way from the original. The budget on these must be huge, and I think it shows. I think some of the scenes are really cool. Of course, the classic scene is when they have to do the street racing, so, you know, they go to this kind of hidden place that has a bunch of, you know, beautiful women and sexy men, and they're all dancing and partying and drinking. There's fireworks, and these cool, bright cars come in with, like, lights underneath the car with these sweet rims. You know, that's always kind of fun to see. I think the look of it is always exciting. I like looking at the cars, the explosions. The writing, definitely, I think they play to their strengths. I think they are aware of the fact that the writing is not very good because they aren't very good in it. I do give the movie props for this, is that they actually do a pretty good job keeping the continuity of it. You would think that after 10 movies they just go, whatever. But no, they actually do bring in more characters from the past movies and bring up past events, for better or for worse. I feel like with these movies, if they want to make another one, they just invent a new brother, sister, son, or somebody who was previously dead comes back alive. And it's literally all those cliches are in this movie. Now to talk about the Jason Momoa thing, he's horrible in this movie, and I'm sorry, I know he's trying to play it up. He's trying to do that, like, kind of flamboyant, eccentric villain, you know, he kind of waltz dances, and he goes like, oh, what will this button do? Boom, and like, come on, Dom, you and me. He's trying to do this whole, he's like trying to do like a worse, what's his name? Gary Oldman in Leon the Professional. He's doing like a worse version of him. Or Andy Serkis in Black Panther. I get that it's trying to be like, almost like the Joker, but with Jason Momoa, it gets so ridiculous that I don't think the audience laughed once at any of the things he would say. Like during a fight, he would call the enemy like a butthole or something like that. Or while he's riding his motorcycle down the streets of Rome, he's saying like, "Oh, buongiorno, grazie, mamma mia." Oh God, it's kind of funny in the beginning, but if you have to watch the movie, because I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're being nitpicky," but it's honestly pretty tiresome. And like I said, Gary Oldman, I think he does a decent job with that. And on The Professional, I think there's a fine line between like kind of creepy, but also kind of he's so crazy that he just thinks it's funny. This guy is just, for Jason Momoa's character, is just eye rolling. But I should talk about the ending, and I'm gonna kind of talk about spoilers. So if you want to see the movie, stop it and rewatch this video later if you really want to. But they're not too deep. The spoilers aren't too crazy. It's just the movie ends on a cliffhanger. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. And the thing about that is I'm all for cliffhangers, and obviously they need to do this because they're going to be making 2 more movies. And I kind of appreciate the fact that he is sticking with this idea that it is going to be a true trilogy of him being Vin Diesel, that is. And, it's kind of refreshing not to see them all just sit at a dinner table together. They kind of have beers, they're all laughing together, it's a barbecue, and the movie ends. No, in this one, it actually does end with a cliffhanger. But my issue is this. Throughout the whole movie, they're so busy trying to set up this trilogy that this movie by itself is just not good on its own. It's kind of like Deathly Hallows Part 1. I love the Harry Potter series, and Deathly Hallows Part 2 is one of the best in the series in my opinion. And I like the first one, but the issue is that because it's so busy setting up Deathly Hallows Part 2, the first one's kind of boring. I'm never gonna like rewatch and be like, "Oh boy, can't wait." It's just not super entertaining. And I think with this is kind of the same thing. They introduce a bunch of characters. Clearly, everybody is going to be in this final trilogy for the final ride. I don't know if it's going to be final, who knows. But they're trying to bring in every single person. And what happens is that not only are you getting like 5 different plot points all at once, like you spend 5 minutes here and 5 minutes here, and it's just like kind of mind-numbing. But on top of that, some people get introduced like Dominic Toretto's sister, who shows up for about 3 minutes, kicks some ass, and goes, "See ya." Clearly, she's going to be in a later movie, but it's just kind of weird. You're just like, what happened to her? What happened to like every other character you introduced and then they just kind of disappeared? And obviously, if I was binging them back to back to back, I probably wouldn't care too much. And maybe my opinion might change once they see the second one. But for right now, just as its own, it's not great. I'm going to give this movie out of 4 stars. I'm going to give it 2 out of 4. I think if you're a fan of the series, you're going to feel a little indifferent. Definitely, you'll be wanting more. And I think if you're not a fan of the series, you will not like this movie, honestly. Should you watch this in the theater? Not really. It just kind of sets up the next 2. Maybe when the second or the third one comes out, then go watch it. I would probably just wait for it to go on demand. And there you go. That's the review. I'm indifferent about it, but let me know what you guys think. If you liked it or if you hated it. If you're happy the series is ending, or if you wish there was more. And of course, if you did like this review, you can hit the subscribe button somewhere here or click another video. And everybody, I will see you all next time. I gotta play the new Legend of Zelda. I've been grinding it. I'm gonna try to beat it tonight. Let's go. I'll see you all in the next video.